So for this one, what you guys are doing is actually beauty. Now, if you look at what I'm looking at here, I just Googled the word beauty art. I think it's interesting what Google think beauty is. So that's what you guys are going to be doing this week for our discussion. Let me show you what I mean. I had to change my lighting because that window was killing me. Okay, so for this is one of my favorite weeks. This is where philosophers can calm down a little bit. We're not in the weeds or the comments battling to the death. This is just art, and how can art ever cause problems, right? I found a couple of videos here that talk about beauty, and I thought they were kind of funny. This one hit me hard. I'll explain that in a minute, but basically, what you're doing, and I'll go into more detail in a minute, you are trying to discuss with us what is ugly and how did you arrive at ugly? So, first, title your post one word that you think is ugly. Like, not an ugly word, but if you had to define ugly using one word, what would it be? Now, I always get students emailing me, I can't do it in one word. Can I have two words? All right, try to limit yourself to five. Okay, so if you had to define ugly, in 5 words, what would it be? That's the title. Then tell us what is your definition of ugly, and it would help if we saw like a video or a picture or something. Um, and then articulate your justifications. Why? Like this is what this guy's doing right here. He's telling you what ugly is, and he's trying to justify it. So that's basically this is a fun one. That's basically what we're doing. Is we're going to dive into value. If you stick around, I'll tell you a little more detail. So if you look up here in this think part that I have for you, what beauty and ugly are is subjective. True, 100%. It's in the eye of the beholder. But like there Plato and Socrates, and there's Nietzsche, Hegel will all argue that it isn't necessarily always in the eye of the beholder. There can be a universal definition for beauty. And they'll argue and they'll offer you their justifications why they think so. So that's what you're going to be doing. So that's what I went up here to Google and I just Googled beauty. And this is what Google thinks. So if I'm a 10-year-old kid playing on the internet, I'm going to think this is what beauty is. Clearly. Why would Google ever be wrong? You know, so it, so what do we notice about this? What do you see? What do you not see? So if this is beauty, I'm assuming whatever the opposite of this is, Google assumes is ugly. Let's just see. Let me break this down a little bit. Let's go ugly. So this is ugly. So do you see how Google is trying to be the objective definition? I mean, think about we turn to Google for so much objective information when this is just kind of proving just like how subjective it can be. So, why beauty? Beauty is value. When we say something has value, we are saying it's worth something. It earns its existence based on this value. And this is something that we hold dear to our hearts because it has value. And in that value is beauty. And that is what a lot of the philosophers, like I mentioned earlier, are going to argue about the purpose of art, the function of art. Like when you get into Hegel in our assignment, it'll talk about the function and the purpose of art. Nietzsche will talk about the frenzy of it, the emotional side of it. Plato will talk about its use of art and it's how it has to be controlled and it has to be censored and it has to be specific and functional and practical. So there's different things that each philosopher is valuing that they are calling art and beauty. So we're going to go the other way. So what I want you guys to do is first we'll go opposite ugly. So what's your definition of ugly and what are your standards by ugly? And have some fun with it. Let's see what you guys come up with. And come on, send us some pictures if you can. Like our eyes get tired of just looking at words all the time. So give us some visual aids.